Today, tomorrow, together.
The Limpopo province is the most northernmost province of South Africa, bordering Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Botswana, and is named for its most important river. It is rich in history and heritage. After all, one of the most ancient gold-using civilizations' remnants were discovered here.
The province stretches over a massive 124,000 square kilometers, with the massive Waterberg biosphere, as declared by UNESCO, forming a great backdrop for off-road racing.
Its unique, dry, deciduous forest, challenging landform and hot weather makes it the ideal place to test vehicles and their occupants for the 6th round of the ABSA Off-Road Championship.
And when the 66 teams and their very clean and very ready chariots drove into the capital of Limpopo, Polokwane's Moropo Casino, to set the scene for this epic battle, everyone expected a tough race, and that's exactly what they got.
But luckily for crews and cars, the weathermen cooperated and delivered overcast conditions for the prologue, which was scheduled for a testing yet fast 35 kilometers on Friday.
While the race over 400 k's would take in fast flat roads with a whole host of gullies, washouts, thick riverbed sand, and then the typical bushveld and thorn trees, which limits visibility severely at times.
But if you couple all of that with the typically dry and dusty conditions, it doesn't exactly rain a heck of a lot in this part of the world at this time of the year, then you get the picture.
Well, the full picture in the production car championship looked like this. Nissan's Duncan Foss and Ralph Pitchford were setting the pace in the defense of their national championship.
Yeah, there's not much of a gap between us and the Ford. So yeah, this is an important race. We're obviously all going to be wanting to do as well as possible, but yeah, we're looking for a good result.
Even more so, Duncan, after your disappointment at Sun City, where you had to drive so hard.
Yeah, we had a problem in qualifying, which put us right at the back. But, we came through from the back to 5th, so we scored some really important points. We didn't lose as much as I was worrying about.
Now, to top it all off, this is a little strange. You're racing against your boss man.
Yeah, and despite what he says, he's going to be going as hard as he can. So whatever he tells me, I'm not going to believe him, and I'm going to just do the best I can.
Nissan Motorsport manager Glenn Hall was standing in for Ivar Tollefson, another role for the former SA Rally champion.
Again, one that I haven't done for quite a while.
And how long has it been since you've changed a few off-road gears in anger?
Well, I did a short prologue on the desert race, which is the only time I've done anything off-road, in 2004, so it's a good 4 and a bit years ago.
Think all the rally experience you're able to call on will stand you in good stead?
Well, I'm going to need to call on something, so I hope it's still there, still in the memory banks.
And the tactics, as hard as you can go for as long as you can?
Oh no, I can't say that. I've got to be responsible as well. So we'll see how it goes, and really I've got to bring it home. We've got to win, score some championship points towards winning the manufacturers, and but I'll see how it goes in the beginning of the prologue. If I feel comfortable, then I'll give it some more, and if I frighten myself too much, then we'll just back off.
Clearly a very wise man. Now, Ford were ready to do battle and weren't even pressurized.
I must say today I'm not feeling the pressure too much. Who knows what it'll be like early tomorrow morning before the start, but I think we're very confident in the car that we've got. The range has performed faultlessly all year. We've done a lot of work on the car. All our preparation is 100%, so I'm not feeling too much pressure, no, but really looking forward to it.
Neil, it's one of the shortest prologues ever. Will that change your tactics in any way whatsoever?
Yes, it probably will. I think the biggest problem for me, or not a problem for me, is that the race tomorrow, the main race is that little bit shorter. I prefer a longer, technical, harder race, so with it being a little bit shorter, doesn't give us quite as much time to get into the position we want. So, but in saying that, I know it's a rough race, and we enjoy a rough, tight, technical race, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Toyota's team has been doing the hard graft, and the Castrol Toyota Hilux was ready once more, but were the drivers?
Yeah, absolutely. The guys have put a lot of work in, so let's see how the prologue goes. I think we've got a good package, and there's some exciting things in the pipeline, so we're waiting with anticipation there.
The 35k prologue, it's short, all out as fast as you can?
Yeah, for sure. From our side, the prologue's going to be max attack. It always has been. It's a really enjoyable part of the race for me, which I really enjoy. And yeah, it's pedal to the metal there.
Because it's so short, it's a different approach and strategy.
Oh, absolutely. The shorter prologues always have been a little bit more tricky. You can't afford for any mistakes. But, you know, everybody has the same field. So, I mean, you got to just go out there and attack, and you got to try and put that behind you and make sure you do something as clean as possible and as fast as possible.
For the orange and black liveried RFS Motorsport team, their new charge was finally ready, but it took a while.
Yeah, it's a long time waiting. We waited 8 months for the car to be completed, but we had 50 Ks of testing on it since last week, so it's not very much. But we will use this event for more testing. But the car feels fine, and I'm glad we are here.
Who built the car for you?
The car was built, the chassis was built by Achim and Stewart, and the assembling was done by ourselves, RFS Motorsport.
Well, whatever the case, it was ready or not. Here we go. And it was Grenier and his co-driver Chris Birkin who were off and flying at the start.
The victors in the Eastern Cape in April are always quick in the prologue and have won their fair share of those this season. They wanted another one in Limpopo because it means dust-free driving at the head of affairs.
Hall was clearly relishing being behind the wheel again. He and Brit Quinn Evans were exceptionally quick, and the Sasol Nissan Navara was herring along.
Track star Anthony Taylor and his navigator Robin Houghton were also highly impressive, and the former teenage national champion was quick and effective.
The four-time national off-road champion Hannes Grobler and Johan Moore were themselves in a mean mood, and at the first time check, they were only a shade over 20 seconds off the pace.
Hannes was looking for a second consecutive win here. And at the same time check, Chris Visser and Jalpi Badenhorst in their Castrol Toyota Hilux was 17 seconds behind Grobler and 5th in the SB class.
Woolridge and Scholthammer were literally flying along in the Ford Ranger, and they flew into and out of a ditch earlier, luckily without any major damage.
But they would all have to contend with Force, who was fast, but seemed a little subdued.
The Nissan was certainly not sounding sick though.
And Arnie, nor was the Rubicon Toyota of husband and wife team George and Sharon Barkhuizen, who were 8th in the SB class in the prologue.
Toyotas took 6 out of the top 10 places rolled as the McLaren XL dealer team with father and son, Hichu and Jaap de Bruin, were 1 minute and 45 seconds behind in 9th.
And Mike Thompson and Brian Haviland rounded out the top 10 with a very clean run in their Feltex Toyota Hilux.
In car now with Kobus van Tonder and Rian Grauper in the Unifreight Ford Ranger. And look at the drop-offs and the loose sand. And listen to the Ranger's engine working overtime.
Wat doe je, bal is op. Kijk, rechtszijde is op.
In Class D, the Zamatin brothers, Henry and Maurice, had their Nissan hardbody exactly 40 seconds ahead of the competition. A controlled yet quick run.
But the cars took some heavy punishment.
The chase for second was led by the Raconic squad, Coetzee Labuskaghni and Johan Gerber in their Nissan.
The dust was hanging thickly over the route as Class E leader Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro skittered into view.
They were in turn precisely half a minute ahead of Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux, who have brought the team Barbaspan Toyota home 4 out of 5 times already this season.
But the dry riverbeds and thick sand gave the young locals a free joyride. Strafford Vogt and Ben Creer in their Jeep obliged. biggest joy of the day, though, went the way of Tronje and Birken, who were just 5 seconds ahead of the surprise package of the day, Glenn Hall, who led his more fancied employees, Krobler and Force home.
Or maybe they were just being nice to the boss.
Don't you dare tell him that. In the special vehicle class, there was great expectation that the route would suit the so-called space frame cars, as the Limpopo races what has been in the past. It's technical and tough. Food for these big monsters with their massive shock absorption systems and large torque engines.
Here the championship race was as open as a golf tournament without Tiger Woods, and just 29 points separated the top four, led by the father and son team of Cully and Quinton Silvalt.
Yeah, for sure. The guys it's been very close the whole year, you know. So this race is important, obviously, like all of them. The first aim is to finish, obviously. We have done quite a few changes ourselves. It's the first time we've had the car back to our own workshop in Palabora. So we think we've done a couple of good modifications to the car, so we hope it all works out.
Atang Makhakanene and his co-driver Jeff Minnett were back in their Cellacore Group 2008 Porter with its huge 4-litre engine. They were ready to finish this one in Limpopo.
Yes, we are, especially after the DNF of the last race. We can't wait to finish the race this time.
Atang, you haven't driven for a while. Is the old feel coming back again? Getting better?
I think the feel is already back. It's just a matter of sorting out the small issues on the car. Otherwise, our pace is up, and we just hope the problems we had at the last race have been sorted out.
Indeed, everyone was hoping and praying for that, but in off-road racing, it's prevention rather than cure that does the trick. The father and son combination, Nick and Ryan Harper, were exceptionally quick on the prologue route. In fact, faster than everyone.
With defending special champion Motorites Evan Hutchinson and Achim Bergman 30 seconds back and battling to keep the gap small.
The dust was incredible as the specials churn it up even more. Century Properties' Mark Corbett and Rudy Balzar were third quickest, a further 11 seconds back.
The second Atlas Copco Porter, that of Gary Berthold and Andre Vermeulen, was effective, but not the usual prologue winner that it's been for the past 2 seasons.
And the teams were marking each other closely as Colin Matthews and Alan Smith in the second Century Properties back came steaming by too.
Botswana 1000 Desert winner Shamir Bariawa and his co Siegfried Rousseau were just a further 4 seconds back, and in the huge Total Motorsport Porter nicely under control early on.
After just 1 kilometer, Nandris Alberts and Audrey Roots in the Rapsa bat. But they wrapped it pretty hard there, and the impact hurt both their backs so badly that they immediately retired. Short day at work, unfortunately.
It's gotta hurt. Now in the Class P, the siblings David and Gary White had the Rubicon bat going well, but the pressure was on.
Why? Because the two Dons, Thompson and Blakey, were only 16 seconds behind them and pushing hard.
Makhakanene and his co-driver Minnett were 7th, almost 2 minutes down, but were impressive with their clean driving.
And just behind them, former national champion Terence Marsh and Peter Groenewald in the Regent Racing bat were keeping them in sight, 2 seconds in arrears.
And in the smaller class, Class B, the Staffix racing crew of Alistair Stubbs and Mark de Chalane had a slender lead of just 21 seconds at the end of their prologue.
Over this outfit, the Rubicon bat with Louw de Bruin and Rudy Brits aboard. They clocked 30 minutes and 14 seconds.
But when the watchers were stopped at the line, it was the Harpers who had a huge 30-second lead over the Motorite team. Just 2 minutes covered the top 31 drivers. The standard was very impressive.
We continue racing right after this.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA, going the